Hello, students, and welcome to your first instance of where I'm going to ask you to copy what you did in a previous assignment and make some revisions to show me that you have very clear understanding of what it is that you were doing in that lesson. So in this case, it's titled Previous Writing Activity Revision. This might happen a couple more times during the semester, so let's get started. So you are on your Google Classroom page and you will notice that there is a document to open. So let's go ahead and open this. In the lesson that you just finished, you learned about two different people and how they might solve problems. And at the very last frame of that lesson, you were asked to write a paragraph in which you compare and contrast how Diane France and the Number Devil might solve a problem. And then you were told to list at least 3 signal words in your paragraph. So the correct answer to the frame just prior to this is that both Diane France and the Number Devil love solving problems, but they solve them differently. That should be your first sentence, okay? If it's not, you'll have a chance to revise it when you get to this next step. I also copied for you the frame from the lesson where you learned about signal words as it pertains to compare and contrast writing. So this is what you're going to do. First of all, Edgenuity gives you an hour and a half to do this activity. This activity really only takes about 30 minutes to do, so it's very important that you work carefully, that you follow all the instructions, and that you have your learning coach review your work. Since your learning coach might not be sitting with you right now, please make sure that they have a chance to see this before you submit. So you are going to copy exactly what you wrote on the last frame of your previous activity. That means you're going to copy everything that's in this box. You can right click and hit copy or hit Control C on your keyboard. And then you are going to paste it and paste it below. Then what you're going to do is make any necessary revisions to be sure that you have 2 ways that only Diane France might solve a problem, 2 ways or more that only the Number Devil might solve a problem, and 2 ways that they would both solve the problem. Notice how when I read my own writing aloud to myself, and in this case to you, I notice some spelling issues, formatting issues along the way. That tells you it's very important to read your work out loud to yourself in the proofreading process. So here, down below here is where you're going to paste whatever it is that you put onto that last frame. The thing about version history in Google Docs is that I can look at the first version and I can see what you originally put on here. So don't worry if it's incorrect or if you missed something or if what you have is slight. Part of what I'm doing right now is seeing how much revision you had to do compared to the instructions, and also where you were starting compared to when you turn in this final version. So again, we're going to copy and paste, and you're going to make these revisions if necessary. If you wrote a really solid paragraph to start, you might already have 2 ways that only Diane France might solve a problem, 2 ways for the Number Devil, and maybe you already have 2 ways that they would both solve the problem. Now here's where you're showing me that you know that you included all of the parts of that paragraph. You're also showing me the difference between comparison and contrast. So if you notice right here, it says to Diane France contrast. What you're going to do is you're going to highlight the key words in your paragraph, not full sentences, just 1 or 2 words that describe one of the ways that she is different than the Number Devil. So I should see 2 words or phrases highlighted yellow. Diane France would solve it this way and that way. I would see 2 that the Number Devil would also solve the problem, highlighted blue this way and that way. And then finally, 2 comparisons. that would show how they both would solve the problem. And you're going to highlight that in green. Now remember, you're not highlighting the signal words because the signal words you're going to go and you're going to highlight in orange. What you're doing is you're highlighting the key words. Okay? Then when you're done, you're going to go up and you're going to make sure that you used signal words that show that you know the difference between comparing how things are the same and contrasting how they are different. And you're going to highlight 2 to 3 signal words. Now, originally you were asked to put signal words in there. So doing 2 to 3 is basically making sure that you followed the original instructions. After that, I want you to read your paragraph aloud to yourself. Check your work for spelling and punctuation. On your Google Doc, if anything is underlined in blue or red, then something's not correct about that. Okay, so take the time to make sure that you have everything spelled right and all your punctuation is right. This is not a very long activity. Okay, this whole paragraph might be 6 to 8 sentences long. That's it. It depends on if you put the two contrasts in 1 to 2 sentences. So I would say maybe somewhere between 4 and 8 sentences. This is not a very long activity. So after you've read your paragraph aloud to yourself, next I want your learning coach to review your work on this page and check to make sure that you have correct spelling and correct punctuation. If you are missing punctuation, you are likely going to have this activity reset. So as I like to tell students, you're going to hear it first today, do it nice, or do it twice, or thrice, or however long it takes to make sure that it's correct, okay? Again, remember, I only ask you to do activities like this occasionally, so I want to see your very best effort. And of course, you're going to have all of your work below here. Okay, so if you have any questions, come see me in the digital lab and have a great rest of your day.